The Monday Morning Marketing Podcast is brought to you by Esther of IPA Group, bringing premier online promotion to your business.
And Melanie of Stomp Social Media Training, who empowers business owners to manage social media and marketing for themselves.
And welcome back to another episode of the Monday Morning Marketing Podcast. Today we're joined by Penny Walker, founder of Barbarossa Social, who helps businesses who are established on other platforms to make more money on TikTok. Welcome, Penny.
Thank you. Good morning. Nice to talk to you.
Good morning. And we were just saying we love TikTok, but spend maybe too long on the platform. So, Melanie has her first question.
I can lose hours, genuinely lose hours on TikTok, especially Sundays. So,
yeah,
who is the current audience on TikTok, Penelope?
There's an audience for every, I'd say, industry and niche. So I think, like all of these platforms, it started with the teens, with the singing and dancing, which is part of the reputation it still has. And a lot of what you might see if you're new to TikTok before the algorithm understands what you're there for. But then obviously sort of older businesses start picking up on it. This started a lot in lockdown when people had a bit more time on their hands. And now the fastest growing demographic on TikTok is actually Gen X. So it's just getting an older audience. As younger audience perhaps discover other platforms, we kind of just take over what they were doing.
Yeah, we have a tendency to do that, don't we? I am Gen X. I promise. Just on the very edge of it. Some would say Xennial, but definitely Gen X in my heart anyway. So TikTok, like Melanie was saying, we can lose hours by just watching videos and watching. How long would it take to make a 3-minute video on TikTok? Because there's different lengths of videos too, isn't there? There's the really short ones that it started out with, and now you can do up to 10 minutes.
Yeah. So there's a few things there. So firstly, the length of the video. TikTok's always trying to compete with Netflix, with, it wants to be an entertainment platform. So now you can see episodes of TV shows in sort of 3-minute clips, for example. And you can actually upload up to 10 and in some cases 20-minute videos. So it does like this sort of episode version. You don't see an awful lot of it. However, it is really pushing videos over 1 minute. So I'd say 1 to 3 minutes is definitely sort of a range worth experimenting with. How long does it take to make? It depends on your editing. I think that if you're talking about your niche, you don't have to worry about too much editing. It's quite a forgiving platform. I think it's more about you coming across and sort of sharing yourself without trying to be too much of anything else. So actually, that's one of the easiest videos to make, is just sit and talk about your expertise. You asked me another question in there about the algorithm. I just wanted to touch on that, because when you first go on TikTok, or if you're not sending signals to the algorithm about what your niche is, it will send you generic information. So if you're looking at dogs and babies and things like that, it will just send you more of them because it thinks that's what you like. So if you're actually on it for business, maybe just be aware of that, and you'll start getting more of what you would find inspiring or people you'd like to connect with.
Okay, my question is about those part 2s, part 3s, part 4s. They were all the rage a while ago, and now I don't see them as often. Is it because people aren't invested enough to go into the next parts, or has our attention span just got even shorter?
Gosh, I don't know. I think our attention spans in a certain demographic are actually getting longer, just because we have been fed all these short form videos in lockdown and up till now. And I just think it's just quick bites of information that might be delivered in under 20 seconds. And actually, I think a lot of us are ready just to hear the whole thing in one go and are happy to sit and listen to that. The series, you're right, I have noticed that as well. It's something I still recommend that clients do, just because it's a good way to feed out information that you already have on a different platform. If you're not good at making short form video or not used to it yet, it's quite a nice way just to do like tip by tip or, item by item. Are they not there? I don't know. Maybe not. I think maybe the mood just shifts sometimes and people try other things. But I think at the core of all of that, you just need to experiment a lot with different formats and see what works for you.
Yeah, speaking of formats and stuff, because I've noticed a lot more people are putting up images and more like a carousel theme rather than a video. What, like, obviously that's throwback to TikTok or to Instagram and stuff like that. Are they working well, or are people still preferring to watch it as a video or
Yeah.
have it as they don't have to move the screen to get the carousel?
Yeah. So that's annoying actually, because the carousel, they call it photo mode on TikTok, and it's originally it just auto played, so you just have a little bit of text and it, which was quite nice. Yeah, now you've got to get your finger out and everything.
Yeah.
And, it's annoying. I personally love them. I don't think they perform as amazingly as some videos, as consistently well, but I think in terms of like talking to your audience specifically, your videos won't always have a mass sort of people pleasing appeal, but you are talking to the right people. So I don't worry too much about that. I think they're really nice for storytelling. I mean, I love carousels. I love how people can like unravel their business, show befores and afters, show things by seasonal trends. They're really flexible way. And it's a really nice way of making videos if you don't have time, don't want to be on camera. You can just, whip it up while you're on the train or something like that. And also you can use that big bank of images that you already have in your phone reel. So it's nice and easy. So I like them a lot and encourage people to make them.
Yeah, you mentioned something there about not showing your face on video, and a certain person in the room, me, for those that don't know, doesn't like being on video and doesn't like being, shown there. So apart from the photo carousels, what other ways could I potentially do TikToks without my face being out there?
So another format which is really popular is voiceovers. I see them performing really well for my clients. So you might be taking people along to an event that you went to, sort of doing a recap of a day, or just talking about your business, or talking about your services, products, whatever it is. But by doing a voiceover, perhaps over like some edited sort of multi clips where you're showing, close ups, far away, even photos of yourself, but not you actually talking to camera, just to introduce yourself gently onto camera, are all really good ways. And then there's also text to speech on TikTok. I don't know if you've seen that when you hear those sort of like funny voices, but they're very popular and they're good hooks for grabbing attention. So there are lots of ways, but it is good to show your face if you can. And it can be incredibly liberating to get over that barrier of how much it doesn't matter. Just do it. A little
You're
bit.
not the first person to say that, Penny. You're not, I'm
sorry,
not quite.
It works. That's why.
I'm not quite there, but I'm getting the feeling that I really should be.
I wanted to ask, is there a kind of formula that works to doing a TikTok? I'm sure it's different for TikTok stories and TikTok posts, because you can do the short one in your profile picture and then you can do the longer one or shorter ones within the post as well. So is there a formula that you could suggest to people, or is there a download that you can suggest to people that they can grab a hold of?
Yeah, so in terms of downloads, I have 22 video ideas, which I think is good, because I think that what people tend to struggle with is all the different formulas you can try and even ideas for that. So that's, I think you probably put it in your show notes or something. And then in terms of formula, I think it's you just want to bear in mind your hooks and your calls to actions. Now, because of the nature of the platform, people are just scrolling through quite quickly. So you've got to grab with a hook. The hooks can be very successfully movement rather than just words. It can be movement. It could be you sitting down. It can be something moving. It doesn't have to be words, but that's really going to help your video be watched. And then obviously you're delivering the value, whether that's entertainment or educational or whatever it is. And then the call to action is fundamental. No matter how long your video is, write it in text, say it out loud, do what you have to do, because people will not follow you, which is your primary objective when you start on TikTok is to get those initial followers. Unless you prompt them to, they'll just, even if they love what you're doing, they'll just scroll on to the next video because the next video is there and maybe someone's like dancing or doing something funny. So just remember to ask for followers, and it's probably you need to overdo the cringe a bit more on that front than you would generally feel comfortable doing, but it's so worth it.
I've seen that myself, actually. I've been seeing some videos, some TikToks, and I've realized after seeing them again 3 or 4 times that week that I haven't actually followed them. So yeah, I can actually believe that they've obviously not asked me to follow them, so I haven't followed them, and then realized, oh crap, I'm not following them. I really should. So it's down to calls to action and giving the hook at the beginning, isn't it? Giving them the end result of, if you listen to this, this is what you'll hear. What about going
absolutely.
live as well?
Yeah,
that comes a bit later though, doesn't it?
Just quickly back to the hook. Yeah, I think you need to use really basic language because it's read by bots as well. So it's just like the how-tos, things like that work really, really well. Simple language. And also within that, you'd add your SEO keywords, etc. Now, in terms of going live, you have to generally have 1,000 followers, which is why the initial strategy of getting followers is important, because it then gives you access to more parts of the platform. Some people get it a lot earlier, so keep an eye on that. But going live is a brilliant strategy for getting to know your community. So to be able to answer questions, perhaps to show what you do. If you're a product-based business, maybe you could make that thing on camera and just answer questions, talk about your business. I do lives with just another business owner on TikTok, so they can talk about their story, how they're approaching TikTok and what's working for them. And you can advertise that in advance so that you can invite questions, etc. And TikTok loves you doing live, so it will actually push it out to more people. And then beyond the live itself, there's also sort of the corridor watching. I don't know if when you scroll through TikTok, you'd actually have to press on the live to go in it, so that the person doing the live can see on it. A lot of people would just watch sort of in that corridor as well, so you never really know how many people are seeing it. It can feel a bit lonely at first, but it's actually a brilliant strategy, and a lot of people might use it to promote a sale or something on a different platform, and just have perhaps a voucher code that works in that sort of hour live, and then that's it. So I've seen that work really nicely for businesses.
Never heard that expression before, corridor watching. So that's a great word. No, just staying on the live there. When you first get the opportunity to go live, there's this practice mode. What exactly does that involve?
Oh gosh, I don't know if you have that on TikTok. You have that on Instagram. Do you have that on TikTok, a practice mode? Oh, it's new. Maybe that's new, is it? I think that you can just it's just a way of perhaps either getting used to the camera or getting your setup right. A lot of people might use that sort of front back camera so they can show what they're doing but show their face while they're talking. And then also sometimes it can be a little bit of a faff if you're inviting other people on, because there's different ways you can do that. So I think I haven't seen that though, so thank you for telling me. But I think it's just to avoid those appalling first few seconds when it goes wrong and you wonder.
I'd be interested to see if this is still there after the first one. Because I would love, because what I recommend to people when they're going live for the first time on Facebook is that they practice in their Facebook personal profile first, because you can make it only me.
Oh, right.
And you can check the sound and the settings and the lighting and the power quality and all that. So I am going to go live on TikTok over the next few weeks just to see, because I didn't know that was there. I didn't think I was allowed it.
Oh, well, I mean, the way to tell is when you go on your plus on your record button, and if it says live along there in the options, it means you can.
But it was far across the side, so you had to keep scrolling across. So you don't see live as an immediate option.
No, I think they keep increasing all the things you can do. Oh, you see it very differently to me.
Camera, see, I saw templates.
I think you might need to upload. Have you updated your TikTok app lately?
I update my apps every single day.
You're just seeing it very differently to me. That's so strange.
So next to templates, is live, but I update my apps every single day.
It could be that she's. Oh no, your iPhone.
Look,
Yeah.
these are all the options I got underneath.
Yeah, I see that as well. That's
And
really
there's
I
nice.
don't.
practice.
And that practice, yes, I don't have that, but maybe it's exactly as you say, you haven't done it before. And the other nice one to look at in there is the dual camera, so that if you wanted to show something and your face at the same time, or teach
yeah, I
something, it's
remember
quite
that.
nice. That's quite handy.
Well, there was another app that was doing that, wasn't there? All the kids were raving about it, and it wasn't TikTok.
Clapper, maybe, was it Clapper?
That's it. Yeah. I had that for about 5 minutes. That was hilarious.
My followers are growing like crazy on Clapper. I never do anything there, but I think when TikTok was threatened with a ban in the States, that's where everyone seemed to go. So it had a big flurry of followers, and then I'm not quite sure what it's doing now.
Wow.
Anyway, I've taken a lot of the questions here.
Well, I was just thinking about a lot of people who go live, like you said, are selling stuff. So there is the option to sell directly inside TikTok, even if you have, say, an Etsy shop or a web shop somewhere else. But can you mention your other platforms freely on TikTok and say, come follow me over on Instagram where you'll get, the free download, or come follow me on my Meta Suite or business page, or, are you, or do they sort of censor not censor, but you know what I mean? Do they sort of frown upon those things?
I think platforms generally don't like you promoting other platforms. However, when you go on TikTok profiles, you'll see that you can link up on your profile page, on your bio, your Instagram and your YouTube. So it's already giving access to that. So in terms of calls to action, it would be easier to send people to Instagram, for example, if that's where you're established, because the button's already there. So it's a click away. I say generally in terms of video, say what you have to say in the video. Don't write it in the caption, video description, or in the comments. Just leave it in the video itself. So use text overlay or say it out loud. That's the best thing to do. In lives, I have seen people with like kind of placards that they just put up that might say Instagram or whatever else. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky, but I think generally I just say do it until someone stops you.
Don't ask permission, ask forgiveness.
Well, no. The thing is, because there are no clear rules, are there? You sort of live and learn a little bit, but those are the things that I've learned so far. So that's sort of what I stick to.
And you mentioned there about the potential TikTok ban. Is all of that sorted, settled? I mean, or are they still?
I don't know. I know that TikTok shopping has been banned perhaps in Indonesia. So there is, clearly a lot of resistance to TikTok. But I think when you're in your business owner lane, it's a very different experience. And it's an incredibly powerful tool. So I do think a lot of policymakers perhaps don't always understand the value. They just see like the dark side, but I think there's a dark side to every platform. And in terms of the benefits to your business, it's amazing. So we all have to bear in mind that we may not, may lose access to it. That's why it's important to, like push people to your email list, etc., so that you have that off platform audience as well.
Yeah. And what about monetization?
Right. So on TikTok, there's lots of ways you can monetize. When you get to 10,000 followers, you can join a creator marketplace and you can be connected with businesses that might want you to make videos for them, or there's ways that you can be paid to, if you have over 100,000 views a month, you can be paid for that, but it is peanuts. Some people are doing well being TikTok shop affiliates. So they have a TikTok affiliate shop so that they can sell other people's products in videos and bring the link up in lives on their videos, and then they'll make maybe up to 10% per product. And that can be really good. If you're the right person for the right audience, you can do very well with that. There's other ways you can make money. You could have a series. So maybe you're a gym instructor, PT, or an artist, or anything really. You can sell a series, so people can buy the series for like $4.99. There's some price brackets that go up to about £30, or maybe possibly more. So that's, I wouldn't say I've seen that particularly take off, but it's all stuff that's worth experimenting with. But I would, from what I see, the way to make money on TikTok is to get people onto your email list so that you can sell them your offers. I mean, I think that is the strongest way of doing it. The rest is a bit of money here and there, which is nice to have, unless you're a very good creator and you're working with brands, and then you're taking a different direction because you're more of a creator than a business owner at that point. But there is money to be made there if that's something you feel good at.
Going into the creative aspect of things, I find I'm attracted to more really useful nuggets, you know, how to best use this tool or understand AI or that sort of thing, or when it's vulnerable stories. So do you think the educate and the sort of the vulnerable stories are the best way, or is it humor that's still working best, or does it really depend?
Yeah, it does depend. You're absolutely right. I've seen that as well. The vulnerable stories do well. There's a lot of sort of menopause talk. There is a lot of grief talk. I know a lot of, you know, people just, or even business stories that have not been easy. I started here and maybe it's a celebration now. But I think what does work really well on TikTok is sort of sharing the story as you go. That seems to be a very popular way. So it's not I'm the expert, but it's like, what am I learning as I go that you can learn from me, who I might be a step ahead of you here. That's great. Educational stuff, I think when you see really niche accounts that are just like someone I know has a Canva tips account, and it's just, you know, she's brilliant at making videos, but it just did incredibly well straight from the start because it was just one niche thing that people would like to know, business owners would like to know. It's really helpful. It's, you know, exactly what you're getting. It doesn't deviate at all. And that does do really well. Just good, solid, how can my work life be easier? What tools could I be using? How can I simplify it? They do well.
Yeah, that's one thing that myself and Esther have never really mastered, the old niching lark.
So you don't have to. You don't have to. It's just one approach. It's one approach that works.
Now, what I wanted to ask is, I know that TikTok doesn't like you sharing their videos onto other platforms. So when it comes to, because obviously they brand the video, so you try and move it over to Instagram Reels, you can see it's obviously a TikTok. So is it best to create everything individually in each platform, or would you ideally, if you're going to pre-record a video, record it on your phone and then upload it as a fresh video to each platform?
Yeah, so I think there's a few ways. Firstly, I'd say that TikTok does like you sharing its videos to other platforms. It's the other platforms that don't like the incoming videos from TikTok, but you can actually share directly to Instagram stories. But if you, I know when you have a video with a watermark on Instagram Reels, for example, with the ending, it's like you could have just chopped that bit off when you uploaded it. I mean, there's ways to make it a bit better. It's not great to have the watermark. So as of recently, in the UK, I don't know how many regions it's gone out to now, you can just download a copy of your video as you create it in TikTok before you publish it. So you have a clean copy on your phone without the watermark. So that's quite handy. However, I do think it takes a bit of metadata with it. So Instagram does know it was made on TikTok, and it's a bit like, I don't think Meta loves that too much. Somewhere like YouTube, I don't think cares. So I mean, I think there's different videos you'll make. There'll be videos you put a lot more effort into, your evergreen videos that you hope are going to work well for a long time and always be relevant. Consider making them in InShot or you know, just off platform. You could make them on CapCut, but again, CapCut is owned by TikTok, so I think InShot seems like quite a neutral territory for video making. Just keep a nice clean copy on your phone, and you can put it wherever you want. On TikTok, you do things like the photo mode, the carousels we spoke about. You're only ever going to do them on TikTok. You're not going to do those somewhere else. If you have the images, you could take them off and upload them somewhere else. But it's never kind of the same feel. And the same with trends. There's things on TikTok that would make no sense on any other platform that you're just joining in for a bit of fun. So that's sort of where the humor you were asking about before, I think, comes in, because it's opportunities to sort of show off your business personality or relatable, funny things that happen in your business. Sometimes trends are a great way just to talk about that without it being a big sort of video. And you might make those quickly, but anything you've put time and effort into editing, I would say I'd probably do it off platform unless you're very quick.
Yeah. No, I'm not quick at editing these things. But you mentioned trends. So obviously not all trends would suit all businesses and not all businesses would suit all trends. But are there any that, you would think everyone should jump on XYZ trend?
No, I mean, not really. I think it's in the timing. So trends are trends, broadly speaking, when they're between 8,000 and 12,000 views. Otherwise, they're a pre-trend or a post-trend and not a trend anymore just because either no one knows it yet, so it doesn't have the traction, or it's a bit old and everyone's seen it a lot, so it's not that interesting anymore. However, sorry, trends, there are sort of like heritage trends as well. That things like, do you remember My Money Don't Jiggle Jiggle, that one? What's
that? Oh, yeah.
You know the one I mean. So you could do that tomorrow and it would still have the appeal it had in the first place, because the everyone feeling tired of that trend has passed, but still the love of it in the first place is still there. So you can use old trends again. And in fact, I do sometimes. I think that's quite nice because it's just a TikTok sort of essence. Trends that come around, you don't have to do them. I think, I try, and I've got an Instagram broadcast channel where I try and just put in trends as I spot them that I think would work well for businesses. Like there was one of just typing and making comments that was around this week. It wasn't a huge trend, but quite a nice one to jump on, something that you can definitely adapt. It would be like, writing to people who book meetings after 5 p.m. or something like that, rants. So I recommend that people just, as funny things happen in your business, or people, family members or friends say things to you, like misconceptions about what you do that can be quite funny, or even clients say things to you, just write them down in your phone somewhere, so that when the trend comes round, you can actually look through the list and see if you can adapt some of those things to it, because otherwise it's not always easy to jump on it quickly with a marvelous idea.
So we've talked trends, we've talked different types of posts, we've talked how to engage people through those posts, and I do know that it depends again, but is there a kind of rule of thumb that you must do one TikTok a day as a minimum, or one TikTok a week, or one TikTok a month, or just to keep the platform going?
I think the problem I see with businesses is that they sort of add on TikTok to what they're doing already and don't actually create the space to take it seriously and really have a good crack at it. And that tends to make you fizzle out quite quickly, because it's like, I'm not seeing the results, so I'm not going to keep doing it. But actually, you do need a little bit of momentum to get eyes on in the first place. And if you've set yourself objectives, for example, to reach 1,000 followers, then you need to do what you can to get there. So you need a sustainable rhythm in your business. But as we touched on before, you can have some very brief posts. You can do a text post, you can do a photo post, you can do those CapCut photo selections. None of them take too much time. I would say try and post 3 to 4 times a week if you can, of which one of the videos is really good, evergreen value. The others might be short tips, and one of them might be a trend, for example. If you really want to grow, I think you need to post sort of 2 to 3 times a day for a period of time. So say like for 2 weeks, you go, okay, I've got 2 weeks in my business, I'm going to post as much as I can. It doesn't have to be big videos. I'm not saying really big edited videos. It could just be you on a green screen in front of a headline and you're just making a couple of comments about something that's happening in your industry, for example. But that's like, you're then going to flood the algorithm with you, and you keep front of mind for businesses, and people will start recognizing you quite quickly when you're commenting, engaging, and posting a lot. So it does give your business a surge towards that objective. Or if you had a launch coming up or something that was happening that was quite big for your business, you might want to try that approach. Just make some space in your business to be able to do that here and there, just to get a bit of extra momentum.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Penny, for joining us today and with all the
That's my pleasure.
answering all our questions. Can't guarantee
Lovely.
I'll be making TikToks, but I'll certainly be looking out for all of yours now. So where can we go onto TikTok and find you?
Yeah, so it's you can find me on TikTok at Barbariza Social, that you might need to write in the show notes because it's not very straightforward. Barbariza_social. And anyone who's listening who has like questions about TikTok, you can just ask me in a video and then I can make a video reply to your questions, or you can jump into my Instagram DMs. It's the same handle on Instagram as well. But I'm always happy to chat. TikTok, favorite subject.
Brilliant. Thanks again for joining us today. And yeah, if you do have any questions for Penny, do reach out to her. And we'll be back next week with more Monday Morning Marketing. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
So this is another platform you're not going to do, right?
Yeah, I like consuming it. Just, just don't make me.
Can I take your photo, ladies? Is it all right to take a photo to put on my stories?
Fame at last.
Should I move the mic?